We've done the Premier League, we've done the Championship. Let's rank League One managers from worst to best for 24-25 in the EFL. Get involved in the comments. As normal, I'm going to try and do the rankings based on these guys' CVs today. Look, a huge amount of subjectivity into this, so don't tie yourself up in logic kind of holes and plot holes trying to figure out something which is broadly opinion-based but can be a really fun conversation. If you do want to get involved in the comments, remember that a list is a number of connected items or names written or printed. So try and come in the comments with mention of more than one name because they're all interconnected. If you want me to move one, you've got to explain why that one would go above or below all the others. And finally, I know, be a fine thing, wouldn't it? Keep calm, be polite, use reason over emotions. It gets a bit tetchy in the comments with these videos, doesn't it? Come on, everyone. It's supposed to be a bit of fun. It should be a good debate for who's got the best manager, who's got the worst manager. We're going to start at the bottom. Well, are we? Because I need to do a non-ranking in this list because even though he's probably got the most expectation on him, the biggest budget, the most eyeballs, and an expectation of, 90 points, Chris Davies is going to be expecting to score. It's not really fair to rank him. He's literally never managed a game. So even though he may ultimately be managing the team that are hot favourites to win this division, how can I give a ranking to Chris Davies when he's never managed a game? So we'll non-rank Chris Davies and start at number 23 with Mark Robinson of Burton Albion. He did a stint with Wimbledon in League One as their first team manager after being behind the scenes there. Didn't necessarily go so well. They went down after he left, and he's not yet managed a game at Burton. So unproven at League One level and at Burton. I'm going to have Mark Robinson at the bottom. Sorry, Brewers fans. And sorry, Stevenage fans and Alex Ravel, who is following in the footsteps of a massive rise for Stevenage under a manager who we're going to be mentioning quite a lot later in this list. It's actually a second stint for Ravel at Stevenage. Sacked from the previous one. Does feel like a daunting task this season. I've got him at number 22. Let's hope he goes up the rankings and Stevenage don't drop down the rankings. At number 21, Michael Skubala. I suppose he's getting a bit punished in this list because he hasn't really been a manager that long. I know they had a good run, Lincoln, towards the end of last season. Could have got the playoffs, just missed out. But he's not done a whole season. And I think if you check when he arrived and when he finished, not really that much difference. It might even have dropped a couple of places. So I'm going to plead the fifth on Michael Skubala and we'll see how he does with Lincoln this season. They will hope to go one better and push for the playoffs. And there is Paul Hurst, who on the Blue Monday podcast in Ipswich Townland, we voted as the worst ever manager of Ipswich Town. Look, that's not the discussion here. We're talking about at League One level. That was in Championship level in chaos. Some really good work in the lower leagues with Grimsby and I think Boston back in the day for Paul Hurst, but only really that massive outlier season at Shrewsbury where I think they finished third, got to the playoff final and didn't quite make it. The rest is history. Paul Hurst, as a result, is in at number 20. And at number 19, Sean Maloney. Okay, this is quite a high-profile name, but if you think about it, Sean Maloney came into Wigan in the Championship. Completely not his fault they went down. Complete chaos that season for Wigan. But Wigan are normally beaten up in League One, aren't they? And if they're not winning the league, they're certainly in the promotion conversation. So I think he's going to need to up his game from 12th last season in terms of expectations. So I've got him at 19. And at 18, Matt Bloomfield. And again, speaking of expectations, it's a hard one to judge because Gareth Ainsworth, you're following essentially a club legend there who took Wycombe to heights they'd never, ever previously been at or dreamed of being at. He's doing okay, isn't he? 9th and 10th so far. Decent job at Colchester. They did have money invested when he went in halfway through the season there. So I'll stick with Matt Bloomfield at 18. It's a difficult one to judge because Gareth Ainsworth set the bar so high at Wycombe. At 17, Ruben Sellis. This guy has managed in the Premier League, but we can't really give that as too big a feather in the cap. How many games have I got on my notes? 17 games for Southampton. They ended up going down. Fair play for stabilising Reading in complete chaos last season with points deductions, and Dai Young not really doing a hell of a lot as owner there. But I can't really put Sellers any higher, can I, than 17th. In 16th, Scott Lindsay, and this is purely based on an incredible promotion last season. I know Lindsay hasn't really got any calibre in terms of League One, but nobody expected Crawley to be anywhere near League One this season, and a brilliant promotion by Lindsay. So I'm kind of giving him the recency bias and the hot hand bias and putting him in at number 16 because I think it's a great surprise that he and Crawley are even competing in this division this season. At number 15, it's a big job for Darryl Clark. Barnsley have been in the playoffs and lost in the last 2 seasons. Came oh so close 2 seasons ago. We're going to talk about that manager who took them there later in the video. Of course, 5th EFL club. He's done really well with Bristol Rovers and Port Vale promotions, but he is a League 2 specialist in my humble opinion. And what a great chance to prove yourself at League 1 level where Barnsley are a pretty big fish and do pretty well. Darryl Clark at number 15. And at number 14, Darryl Clark is a former Bristol Rovers manager. Matt Taylor is the current Bristol Rovers manager. Great stint at Exeter. Got himself a championship move, didn't he? Kept Rotherham in the division. I don't know how much credit to give him for that because they were kind of given a good start by Paul Warne and then just managed to sort of hang in there with relegation form under the majority of Taylor's tenure there. So I'm a bit conflicted with Taylor. Big tick for the Exeter thing, kind of a half of a tick and a half of a cross at Rotherham. So I'll stick him at number 14 and we'll see what he can do at Bristol Rovers. And at number 13, John Brady. And we'll give John Brady the recency bias as well. He was at Northampton when they went down. And then if you remember, they had that massively unlucky last day of the season where Bristol Rovers had to beat them by like 6 goals or 5 goals or something. And it happened against Scunthorpe's youth team, basically. And then Northampton lost in the playoffs. They did come back. They did get themselves up out of League 2. And they did stabilise in League 1, which kind of makes John Brady not only a League 2 promotion winner, but a proven commodity, really, at League 1 level. We'll get to the top 12 in just a minute. But quick pause for the cause to shout out the wonderful people at Beer52. Now, I've got the massive, super, mega box there with 16 cans in, but you can get yourself 8 cans in a case of Beer52 for absolutely free. You just need to cover the postage, which will set you back £5.95. You can either get craft beer or you can get dark beer. Look, there's bar snacks there as well. There's a copy down there of Ferment magazine. All you need to do, head over to the website at www.beer52.com/bloom. That is your link. That's www.beer52.com/bloom to get involved. Get your free case of beer. Just pay the postage, £5.95. Please drink responsibly. Into the top half of our countdown of the worst to best managers in League One. Nigel Clough, it's an absolutely iconic footballing name. Look, there was some stuff in the Championship and whatnot earlier in his career, but let's be honest, the main good work has been done in sort of the 3rd and 4th tiers with Burton and with Mansfield just this past season, getting them up. So there's experience, there's promotions, there is League One kind of calibre there. What can he do with Mansfield this season? He is our first member of the top half. And again, someone who's done a brilliant recent job is Richie Wellens, going in at Leyton Orient and pretty much immediately sending them to the top of League 2 where they stayed all season, got promoted and really good stabilising season last year. I think they were in the top half, weren't they? He would be maybe a bit higher, Richie Wellens, if it weren't for weird spells at Oldham and Doncaster and Salford. But in terms of a recent job and a recent job in League One, which included a League 2 promotion, I've got to put Richie Wellens nice and high at 11. And here is Gary Caldwell, who would probably be in the bottom half, and he's frankly dining out on a League One promotion. I think they won the title, didn't they? Wigan in 2015-16. 16. So that's padding him a little bit. It's been okay at Exeter. He obviously took over from Matt Taylor, who we mentioned previously in the video. They look fairly stable, don't they? Can he get them in the top half? And can we not be judging him on a promotion that was nearly 10 years ago? But I'll still put him in the top 10. And speaking of a long time ago, Gary Monk, probably 3 years ago, if he was managing in League One, would have been right at the top of this list. But we've got to put him down a little bit, haven't we, Monk? Because he just disappeared off the scene for 3.5 years after Sheffield Wednesday. He managed in the Premier League really young with Swansea, did well as well, and then kind of incrementally worked his way down, didn't he? Leeds United he was with, massive club, obviously. Who else was he with in the Championship? Middlesbrough as well. They had money and it didn't work out. So there is calibre there, but given the kind of trend down and the big gap, I can't put him any nearer the top. So Gary Monk, the Cambridge boss, stays at number 9 for that reason. And at number 8, Mr. Promotion, Dave Challoner. Yes, it's his first go at League One level. But this guy with Colwyn Bay, Fylde, Hartlepool, 2 promotions with Stockport. I know they had money and they were well funded in the National League and in League Two. But this guy, invariably, whatever league he's in, he ends up near the top. Let's see if he can do it in League One. And he's going up and up this list if Stockport go up and up the league. Right, this is a really difficult one. I thought about having Iain Evatt higher because I really, really like him. And I like the football he plays actually at Bolton as well. And he's taken Bolton through League Two. I think he got promoted with Barrow as well. And into League One, finished in the playoff semi-final, lost in the final. There is a question mark though, which means he's not higher than 7th. Can he get Bolton over the line at League One level? It's felt for the last 2 seasons. Look, 2 seasons ago, I'll give him that, with Sheffield Wednesday and Barnsley and whatnot in those playoffs. It was going to be a difficult one to get through. But I think they took their eye off the ball last year and should have gone up. So there is that question right at the final point. Can Iain Evatt deliver? That's why he's not in the top 6. But I like him a lot, I have to say. Into my top 6 is someone who has delivered a League One promotion. Neil Krissy. Now, if you took the disastrous parts of his CV out of this, we'd put Neil Krissy right near the top of this list, top 3 maybe. Brilliant promotion from League One with Bristol City. Blackpool. I mentioned a lot of teams in this video, and a lot of them begin with B, apparently. And I'm going to fall over them, so my apologies. Brilliant promotion with Blackpool. Was it at the back of the COVID season and beat Lincoln in the playoff final, and then great stabilising season in the Championship. But off he goes, Aston Villa. Assistant manager, that didn't last with Stevie Gerrard, did he? And then horrible tenure at QPR, which just puts him back down. I think Blackpool were 8th last season, so in order to get back to where he was, he needs to be in the playoffs, doesn't he, with Blackpool? But first 2 years at Blackpool, incredible stuff. Critchley at 6, and number 5, Phil Parkinson, Hollywood, Wrexham, but they've quite surprisingly, when you think about it, got a quite long in the tooth EFL manager who has been around for bloody ages, 20 years as a manager. So fair play, even though they're throwing the money at it left and right and being on Disney and all of that. Wrexham do have an experienced guy in the dugout, took Colchester and Bolton into the Championship. So he is proven at League One level as well. Back-to-back promotions with Wrexham. I think Birmingham might be getting in their way as the biggest and richest club now in League One, but we know what the expectation is, and there's going to be a lot of eyeballs on Phil Parkinson, who I've got 5th, the Wrexham manager. Into our top 4, I really like Mike Duff. And again, look, we're doing League One managers. If they were proven at Championship level, they wouldn't be in League One. So I'm just going to caveat what I'm about to say with that thing that we need to take into account. These are lower league managers, essentially. But Mike Duff, brilliant at Cheltenham, an all-time high to get them, I don't know, like 15th, 16th or something in League One. I thought he was so unlucky at Barnsley. He did a brilliant job there. And red card in the playoff final and lost in the 123rd minute. So close, and it just didn't work out at Swansea. I've got a feeling Mike Duff is going to go again. I know I've said we're not basing this off potential. But I think he is proven at League One level with Barnsley, and what he did at Cheltenham was outstanding as well. So really like Mike Duff. Let's see how he does at Huddersfield this season. I've got him in 4th. And there he is, ladies and gentlemen. Get your popcorn out. Steve Evans. Say what you like about him. He's bloody entertaining. People love him. People hate him. His press conferences are absolute box office. But, as I said about Dave Challoner earlier, normally this guy is towards the top of the division he's in. He did back-to-back promotions, didn't he, with Rotherham back in the day. Another one who's managed the giant that is Leeds United. And let's be honest, what a job to take Stevenage from the bottom of League 2 up into the playoff picture in League 1. He's Marmite, but he's proven. And let's be honest, this is Rotherham as well, who are like the Barcelona, the Man City of League 1 when they're there. You wouldn't be surprised if they were very much in the conversation, the combination of Steve Evans and Rotherham this season. Number 2, I'll get some flack for this because this guy's Marmite as well. Nathan Jones, who, if you just took his work at Luton, would surely be number 1. But I can't put him at number 1 because of a complete abject failure at Stoke and at Southampton. But this guy was pitched and taken for a Premier League job very, very recently. Yeah, he fluffed it up massively, didn't he? He just didn't handle it well enough. But the work at Luton was outstanding by Nathan Jones. I think there's still something there. And if he can get anywhere near back to the guy that essentially set up Luton's rise all the way through from League 2. I know he walked out at the top of League 1, but he went back in and left them ready to go in the playoff spots in the Championship as well ahead of that promotion. So I think Nathan Jones has got a brilliant CV at Luton. It's just the stints at Southampton and Stoke really stitching him up. And at number 1, I don't really know what to say here because Darren Ferguson is pretty much impossible to ignore. We had this with Daniel Farker in the Championship list, didn't we? Just because of the sheer number of promotions out of this league. And what do we got? I think 5 promotions in total. League 2 promotions, 1 with Peterborough, 1 with Doncaster, 3 League 1 promotions, all with Peterborough. He's also been in the playoffs the last 2 seasons with Peterborough. So it's a difficult one to argue against Darren Ferguson. If we were going on potential, maybe not. And again, I can say the same thing I said about Nathan Jones. What's he done outside of Peterborough? Yeah, there was a promotion with Doncaster, of course. So maybe that's not completely fair. And again, we've got a Clough and we've got a Ferguson in this division. But I can't really ignore the fact that this guy has 3 promotions from this division with this team and has been in the playoffs the last 2 seasons. It almost seems this combination here is a guarantee of the top 6, maybe the top 5, 4. We'll see how it goes with rich teams like Birmingham and Wrexham in the league this season as well. But Darren Ferguson, I'm going to have to put him at number 1 just because of the triple promotion out of League 1. There you go. Get yourself in the comments. Remember, once again, we are ranking based on everyone's CV today. But look, so much subjectivity to this. Again, don't write me a big bloody essay about logic and, oh, what I've done doesn't make sense. It's subjective. It's opinion. When does opinion really ever truly make sense? So get your opinion in as well. Remember, help me out. If you are commenting, a list is a number of connected items or names written or printed. So resist that temptation to comment on just one manager. And let's be completely plain about this. It will be the one manager of the team you support. Try and give me a list. Try and give me a top 3 at least. Top 5, that'd be helpful. Some people even do all of their working out in a top 24. And as ever, please keep calm. Be polite, use reason over emotion. And why not click over here? If I position this right, I can't sort my hands out because I'm all mirrored. Let's do that. I'm trying to point over there. Not doing a great job. And plug the Championship edition and the Premier League edition of these wonderful worst to best rankings videos. Get the debate going. Let it rip in the comments.